Welcome, everybody, to the Grueling Truths Inside Boxing Weekly Show. We have a special guest tonight, but before we get to that, I want to introduce Jeremiah Preisser.
Good evening, Mike. I'm happy to be on. Always happy to be on. Let's talk some boxing.
All right, and of course, I'm Mike Goodpaster. I forgot to bring that up, but I wanted to get to Jeremiah because he's very important to me, Jeremiah.
Thank you.
And we have a special guest tonight. You guys know him from The Contender. Also, I believe, former Super Middleweight Champion of the world in the middle of a comeback. Help me welcome to the show, Cornelius K9 Bundrage. How you doing, K9?
What up? What's happening with you?
Not much, man. Thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. We'll start from the start. First things first, how are you doing? How's the family doing?
Man, I'm doing good, man. I'm always in the lab. You know, the lab is the boxing ring and the boxing gym, so I'm always in the lab. Just getting ready for my next fight, March 26th. Coming back hard, super hard.
All right. So we all know that you're always in the gym, always preparing for fights. I mean, you're always in fantastic shape. I just want to ask you, how's training coming along, and what's different in your preparations between, what you started boxing when you were, 20, 21, 22? What's the difference between, training at 20 years of age, 30 years of age, and now at 43?
You know what? You just got to, I once heard a young man call himself TBE say you got to train smarter and not harder as you get older, and that's the truth. So now I just train smarter now. I went from running like 15 miles like a day here and there to like running like 6 and 7. So even as doing 6 and 7, I'm still doing more than most people now. But I just cut back, man. I just train a little bit lighter than I normally train, just to preserve myself, just so I can do it a couple of more years at full throttle in the way that people train today, or even less than what people train today.
All right. Now, you mentioned on social media that you were asked to be in camp with either Andre Berto or Sean Porter. Did you accept that invitation? And if so, what's that been like?
You pay attention, huh? Hey, you pay attention. I really haven't reached out to the person who actually to come training with him, which was Andre Berto's trainer, Virgil Hunter. So I haven't reached back out to him yet, so I'll probably give him a call over the weekend and see what's going on, see what they're talking about, and just go from there.
All right, very good. And you also said that you're planning, again, I do pay attention, so you also said you were planning multiple fights in 2016. You already had a knockout in one over Sergio Gomez in the second round. Many didn't get to see that fight, and we're all kind of wondering what happened. Could you just detail that for us?
Hey, listen, he probably still wondering what he do. The dog is coming. I hit him with a good body shot. I threw a jab so he could see the jab coming. Then I threw the overhand right to his kidneys, and I broke something. I took him down. And so, now I'm getting ready for my next fight, which is March the 26th. So I really plan on fighting maybe at least 6-7 times before the end of the year. That's like crazy for someone that's 43 years old. And it's like crazy for someone like K9 Bundrage, because if you go look at my record or you go look at my resume, the last maybe 6-7 years I've only been fighting once a year. And that's just because they haven't been offering me the right fights. And, in this boxing, boxing's so dirty, you got to really watch it, because they'll offer you crumbs when you're worth way more. I mean, there's a lot of Don Kings out here, a whole lot of them.
Yeah, most definitely there's a lot of Don Kings. And then you get the UFC, you get Dana White, who's like every Don King.
Oh, my goodness.
One.
Exactly.
We'll go there since we brought that up. We'll get a little bit off because actually you already answered our next question, except for before I get to my next question, do you know who your opponent's going to be March the 26th?
Hey, you see that? You see, I stay ahead. You already answered my question already. I stay ahead. You got to stay ahead. Exactly. But I don't know who my next opponent is. But I might do it like they used to do me, or like they do other fighters. Call them at a one-day notice.
Yeah, well, that's the best way, because then they're unprepared anyway.
Exactly.
Even without the disadvantage.
Right. The Bible says, get the mold out of their eyes before you try to get the mold out of somebody else's eyes. I was just talking about that. Some golden line comes around real quick. But no, I don't get no call in one day. Weeks.
All right, Jeremiah, go ahead.
Okay, so 6-7 fights, that's a fantastic pace for a modern fighter. I mean, you typically don't see that stuff from anybody besides prospects who are making their way up. But, ultimately the goal is just kind of get back into title contention, right?
Yeah.
Right.
No, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering, is there somebody that you're specifically targeting now, or are you just trying to get into contention and whoever will take the fight?
You know what, to be honest with you, really defer to contention. No, but what I was saying, though, is like with the Charlo, after the Charlo fight, after I lost in the Charlo fight, that they had called me like 6 months later for a world title eliminator. So with me being a two-time world champion, just being active, or just me being a two-time world champion, they're going to always call me. Like I say, they called me for a world title eliminator. Let me say that one more time. After losing the fight, getting stopped TKO, they called me for a world title eliminator right away for the IBF belt. I just wasn't mentally ready to take that fight, so I passed on, plus the money wasn't right. You can't go from making six figures, six figures or high six figures. I made a whole lot of money. I don't want to say exactly how much I made because I still stay in Detroit and I don't want nobody breaking my house. But that's why you don't see me putting my Rolexes and stuff on the internet, on YouTube or Twitter or none of that, man. You next thing you know, you tell somebody, yeah, I'm about to ready to go out of town to the fights. They like, oh yes, and you come home and everything gone. But yeah, but I'm always, man, like I say, man, I'm always in the gym. I mean, like I say, somebody would like to put me on their resume. With me being a two-time world champion, I could fight. I could fight like tomorrow. I could fight next week. I can fight next month. I just want to make sure I'm in shape. I done had a lot of calls. I heard who he just fought, and he beat my boy Tony Harrison right before he got the shot at fighting for the world title world championship. First it was a title eliminator, that's why I almost said that. But before he fought for the world title, he was calling me out. Same thing with Eric Lubin. Before Eric Lubin fought for the world title eliminator, he was calling me out. So I could have took those fights. So I'm always, as long as I'm active, as long as I'm boxing, I always have a shot. I always got a chance. As long as I don't go and lose 2 fights, 3 fights back to back terribly, then they'll love to always put me on their record. But the only thing about it is, though, it ain't gonna be easy like you think it is, and they gonna have to fight and don't just be barking for real. Because the dog is coming. I'm gonna give me one more world title and become a 3-time world champion. Then I call it a day. I sit back like y'all doing and press the remote control.
All right, now you brought up Jarrett Hurd, and we know you were rooting for your fellow Detroit native Tony Harrison and his recent loss. He looked good, was winning the fight, picking his shots using angles, but he just couldn't keep Hurd off of him. Is there anything he could have done differently, and how is he doing today?
Oh, he's doing fine. I talk to him like a big brother, so I talked to him. We kicked it and everything. He's doing fine. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's out in Miami right now. And he's taking a vacation. I told him, man, go ahead and take a vacation. Clear your head. You young, you'll bounce back. It ain't nothing. I done did it before. I done, lost a fight, lost another fight, lost a fight. I done got robbed a fight. But I still became a 2-time world champion. And currently right now, I'm the oldest IBF junior middleweight world champion of all time. Matter of fact, the oldest world champion at junior middleweight division of all time right now. So, with God, all things are possible. You just can't think it's just us that's doing it. We got somebody that's stronger, got more power than us that's doing it for us, and that's helping us to do it. But he's fine. Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. He's young. He'll be okay. He just gotta, he just gotta learn from his mistakes. It's hard to tell him what he should do because, it's easy on the outside looking in. You never know what a person is thinking when they're actually in their fight. You never know what's going through a person's mind. And it's a lot harder when you're fighting for that world title. Everybody, they rooting for you. It's a lot of pressure on you when you trying to bring some back to the city of Detroit or trying to bring some back to New York or Cincinnati, wherever it is. It ain't that easy when them lights on you. Then you got a guy that's breathing on your back that's bigger than you, taller than you. Not saying that he couldn't beat the guy, but there's just a whole lot going on. A lot of things that was going on I probably don't even know about. But you just, we know the MO is that they're gonna try to take them to late rounds, and when they get to late rounds, they're gonna try to, take them out. So what he has to do is he has to get stronger in the later rounds. It ain't that he wasn't in shape, because he definitely was in shape. It's just that in the late rounds, he got to be better prepared for the late rounds. I think maybe he had to pack more pounds on in his training camp so he could actually be able to eat more after his weigh-in. After the weigh-in, I don't think he don't gain enough weight, I don't believe. I mean, a lot of guys, after the weigh-in, he probably got up to 162, from 154 to 162. Jared Hurd, and I talked to his people, after the weigh-in, they got up to 172. So you got a guy that's 10 pounds heavier than Tony Harrison. So when they got in there in the ninth round, them 10 pounds played a big advantage for Jared Hurd. So if Tony Harrison, I believe, I'm just saying what I believe, if he was 168, 172, then he'd have said, man, watch out, you a little fella. I ain't going nowhere. Come here. And he probably would have finished Hurd. But that's just my assessment.
Yeah, no, I can certainly see that. I mean, if anything, Hurd definitely looked like the bigger of the two there. And if anything, it was Hurd's physicality, which looked like it was helping him the most, because, in my opinion, Harrison was outboxing him prior to the stoppage. But, and of course, like you said, with the whole Detroit thing and, the Crunk prestige, I mean, there's a lot of pressure on his back. And, again, we all know you train in Detroit as well. I was wondering if there, any guys that you train with that we should watch out for in the future. Any guys coming out of the gym, coming out of the farm system.
Yeah. You better watch out. You better watch out. You better watch out. You better not cry. Remember that? For Deshaun Bundrage. It's little K now. That's my son. He's 6'1". He fights junior middleweight right now, and he's a Golden Glove, like a 4-5 time Golden Glove champion. He went to the regionals and won the nationals. He's a Silver Glove champion. He a bad man. So watch out for Lil K now. I'm going to pass the torch to my little dog real soon.
All right. So you bring your son up, and I know a lot of boxers in the past that always say they don't want their sons to be boxers. Is there any trepidation in you with your son being a boxer? Because, you already talked about the shady promoters. You know how that stuff goes. And, hell, you can be good enough to win a world title and never get a chance or never get a fair chance.
That's true. That's true. I know Tommy Hearns. Tommy Hearns, he got a son. His son's name is Ronald Hearns. And Ronald Hearns is a good fighter, and he did well for his career. Fought on Showtime a few times, or numerous of times. He fought for a world title. I think one thing that hurt Ronald Hearns' career is that his daddy wouldn't allow him to box at a younger age. If he would let him box at a younger age, and by the time he got older and he decided to want to box anyway, he would have had more experience. See, a lot of the guys he fought and who he lost to were guys that started boxing when they were younger, so they had more experience than him. I actually, go ahead. No, what I was going to say is I actually promoted his first amateur fight, Ronald Hearns.
Wow. Didn't Hearns fight Felix Thurman in Germany? Am I mistaken?
Yeah, Ronald Hearns did. And he did good. Man, I watched that fight. See, people never see the haters. They never see the fights you do good in. They always tell you about the fights you didn't do good in. Okay, now, man, I saw your last fight. He did real good against Tom Stern. Oh, man, he did real good. I was very impressed. You got to remember, Ronald Hearns, I don't know how many amateur fights he had, but I believe he only had like 5 or 6 amateur fights, if that many. So for him to get as far as he got, that's a good accomplishment. Huh?
Yeah, he jumped to a world title fight. Pretty early on. I don't even think he had 25 fights in that bout.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. He's very athletic as it is. He's a very athletic young man. He had a chance to the Detroit Pistons, but I think he messed his knee up. So he started boxing. He went to the sport he liked at first. He wanted to do it anyway, that his daddy wouldn't let him do. So after basketball, after he couldn't do the basketball thing because he had messed his knee up, I think he pulled a turned ACL or something like that, and he started boxing. But imagine if he would have been allowed to box when he was younger. He decided to say, okay, I ain't gonna do this basketball thing. I'm gonna box. Imagine how much experience he would have had. Imagine how better prepared he would have been, and he'd be a world champion right now. Without a doubt, he'd have won a couple of world titles. And with him having a name, Hearns, Hearns, oh man, he just broke the bank. He was signed with Al Haymon. He was an Al Haymon fighter.
Right.
But like I say, it's hard when you don't have that experience. You don't have that experience, and it was hard. So what I did in my son is that I allowed him to be a boxer at a young age, because if he decide, if he decide to want to be a boxer later on, because you never know with these kids nowadays, they go from sport to sport, from thing to thing, from here to there. If he decides to want to box later on in his life, guess what? He got the experience. And then kids can't hurt kids, so I don't worry about him getting really hurt by someone else at the age of 15, 14, 12, 11, even 16. In amateur boxing, they don't really allow you to get hurt like that. Only when you take that headgear off and you turn pro, they'll let you kill each other. Not saying you can't get hurt in amateurs, but the chances are very slim compared to pro boxing.
Right, yeah, they're much more cautious. And speaking of, working with Ronald Hearns and, others, I remember J. Leon Love called you, an ambassador to the city of Detroit. Is that what he's referring to, your work with the city's youth, your character, a combination of both, maybe other things as well?
Yeah, man, you know what? Maybe y'all can call and talk to the mayor and tell him to give me a key to the city, because I've done a lot for Detroit, a whole lot for Detroit. And the most they've done for me or gave me back was I was able to pitch the first pitch of the game at the Detroit Tigers game. So I like that. I did like that a lot, because I always rooted for the Tigers, always rooted for the Lions, always rooted for the Pistons. I've been always there for Detroit. I mean, the inner city kids, I do what I can for them. I tell them about how good God is. I preach to them. I teach them how to box. I do a lot for the city, man. I mean, even a lot of these amateurs that's from Detroit, the first person they spar with, or the guys they spar with to get better, has been me. From a Dominique Dalton to the Vernon Paris's to the J. Leon Loves. I mean, I done helped a lot of people, man, a lot of people. And I don't think I get enough credit for that. Maybe because I changed. When I was a bad guy and I was in the streets and I didn't know God, K9 was the man. But when I started saying Jesus, they said, oh, man, I'm going to call you back.
That people uncomfortable, though, K9. You know that.
Right. The spirits be screaming, no! Right.
Well, when people don't believe, though, and they hear somebody that does believe, it kind of scares them from that person, because it's something they really don't understand.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? I was at the Danny Garcia Keith Thurman fight, and I had a young man coming to me, man, and I even gave him my phone number because of the testimony he gave me. He said, man, I didn't believe I could play football, man, until I saw you in a contender. And you said the first should be last and last should be first. And he said, man, he became a football player. He played college football, and he got a business now. And, I gave him my number and told him to call me, man, because, that's very touching. You know what I mean? That's inspirational,
All right, you just talked about Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia. You were at the fight. What were your thoughts on it, and who did you have winning the fight?
Oh, you know what? People was lighting me up, boy. They was lighting me up when I was at the fight, because at the fight, it's different watching the fights live versus sitting at home watching the fight. When I'm at the fights, people want pictures, they want autographs, they want to ask me who I think winning. They want to say, can you excuse me, I can't see. So it's so much going on that I'm not able to really see the fight like I would see it, or pay attention like I would pay attention if I'm at home and I'm not being distracted. So with the crowd screaming, there was more of a Danny Garcia crowd than a Keith Thurman. So I'm thinking that Danny Garcia is winning. So I'm tweeting, yeah, Danny winning and this and that. And they like, man, K9, is you on crack? They tweeting back like, man, what is you watching? So once I got home, I was able to see that Keith Thurman really did win the fight. And then I'm kind of a little biased because me and Danny Garcia, we pretty cool. So, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. If it's a close decision, I'm going to roll with Danny because, like I say, man, we know each other. And, me and his dad pretty cool. So, but, it is what it is. And the truth be told.
Hell, you think you get his dad on our show? Because that could be entertaining, Kanan.
You said what again now?
I said, you think you get Angel on the show for us? That would be entertaining.
Oh, man, wait a minute. They sure would, yeah. Just gotta watch some of the things he say. That's all, you know. But hey,
we can put an explicit warning on it because hey, K9. I don't know if you listen to past shows. Jeremiah has a tendency to drop an F-bomb here or there, and I have to get on him about it.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
I think it's the last 2 or 3 I haven't done it though.
Yeah, he's on a streak now. He's won like three shows in a row with no bad words. So
that's right.
He learning. Yeah, see, the spirit is overtaking him. I like that.
Yeah, I know you're busy. You got to fight. Where's your fight at on the 26th? Is that in Detroit?
Oh, it's gonna be here. It's gonna be here in Dearborn, the Performing Arts in Dearborn. Yeah, then I got a fight. Actually, had an offer to fight in Africa. So I mean, it's fights lined up for me all over the world, from Africa, just some everywhere. I mean, you know, I fought in UK. They asking me to come back, but the money, you know, I'm not gonna just go anywhere and fight, especially in someone's country, and the money ain't right, because when you go overseas and fight somebody in their country, you gotta kill them to get the belt, to bring the belt back, to get the victory. When I went over to Cancun, Mexico, I destroyed Carlos Molina. And like Ray Jones said in one of his songs, y'all must have forgot. Yeah, I'm a 2-time world champion. They didn't give me nothing. So when I lost it, I got it back just to let them know it wasn't a mistake. It was not a mistake.
All right. Jeremiah, you got any final questions for K9?
Nope, no final questions. Just happy to have a guy like this on. I mean, he's been an entertaining guest, and just, again, happy to have him here.
All right.
You better not say nothing. K9.
You better not. Oh, the dog is coming. You know I'm coming now. You better come. You know I'm from Detroit. We don't play. No, we are good.
We do the Inside Boxing Weekly show every week where we preview the fights. If you want to think of your fight, maybe a couple days before the fight or something, we'll do the show, have you on for 5 or 10 minutes. You can tell everybody about your opponent and how your training and everything's going.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, listen, stay in touch with me, man, because, you know, y'all real, man. Y'all keep it 100. The best show in the place to be. That's right.
There you go. We need to get you to say that as an opening for us.
Right.
All right, guys. Make sure you check us out tomorrow night. We're going to have Dat Win on the show, who pulled a big upset on the PBC card a couple weeks ago. Make sure you check out our interview with Lamont Peterson. I think it was 2 weeks ago after he won the title over David Evanesian. You can check out all of our shows on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, Google Music, YouTube. You can catch all of our articles and shows on thegruelingtruth.net and also on Apple News. So, for Jeremiah Preisser, what was that?
No, and what about YouTube, K9 Boxing, and subscribe?
Oh, there we go. We got to get your Twitter out here, too, K9. I can't believe you forgot to bring that up already. I can't believe I forgot to ask you about it since we talked about it right before the show. But tell everybody about your YouTube channel real quick.
Yeah. Can y'all please subscribe to my YouTube channel at K9 Boxing? All my social media is K9 Boxing, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and I'll reply. All you gotta do is keep it 100.
All right, so everybody make sure you check out K9 Boxing on pretty much every social media platform, correct, K9?
That's right. My dog,
right.
That's right.
Yep. So, all right, we are going to go ahead and wrap it up. You want to bark for us before we go, K9? All right. So, for Cornelius K9 Bundrage, who's going to be the champ again, we're going to be interviewing you about this time next year, talking about how you won the title when you was 43, 44 years old, correct?
Exactly. The welterweight. This time I'm going on a welterweight, the welterweight belt. Remember I said that. The IBF welterweight belt or the WBC is going to be a welterweight belt.
All right. It'll be a welterweight belt, which would be amazing because usually when you win a junior middleweight title, when you're 42, 43, you're not coming back and fighting at welterweight.
Exactly. I'm gonna do the impossible because with God, all things are possible.
Most definitely. So we will catch K9 here in the next week or two, so make sure you check back for that. Remember to check us out at thegruelingtruth.net. So for K9 Bundrage, Jeremiah Preisser, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.